Hey, it is that time of night. Time to talk some football. We are live in Champaign, Illinois. Checking to see if my mic works. Mic works. I can turn that down now. How is everybody tonight? Welcome to the chat, the live chat. 30 minutes live. That's it. It's 30 minutes live, hanging out with some coaches. Tonight we got some great guests. Again, hanging out with the staff at La Cueva High School, New Mexico. How many of you ever been to New Mexico? It was my first ever trip to New Mexico. I had never been. Flew into Albuquerque, drove up north a little ways to Cleveland first, then came back down south a little bit to Albuquerque, and got to visit La Cueva. And we're visiting with La Cueva defensive staff tonight, talking defense, talking aggressive defense, Ben Campos style. What's up, Ben Campos? What's up, Coach Freeman? Coach Freeman, I don't know what kind of defense you guys run there in Minnesota. Curious to know. Anybody else that's here, please check in and let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. I know a lot of guys like to hang in the background and hang out, which is fine, but still would love to know where you're watching from. Anthony Anso Teague in the house again from West Mesa in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Coach, did West Mesa play La Cueva last year? Do you guys play them? And I think you had said, or the guys had said, they coached with you once upon a time, potentially. I feel like there was just a couple New Mexico names in the chat, and I can't remember who knew what. 4-4 cover 3, bend, don't break. Okay, so not an aggressive style dude. Ben Campos is aggressive. Campos will get after you, man. Welcome, everybody. They said, thankfully, we did not. Anso Teague, what do you coach there at West Mesa? Let us know. How big's your high school? Is it the same size? Are most Albuquerque schools the same size? We're live. My name's Nate Allball. I coach football at Unity High School. Unity is probably backwards because of the webcam. But Unity High School, Tolono, Illinois. I'm an assistant coach here. Anso Teague's the head coach there, 1,700 kids. I'm an assistant coach. I coach mostly safeties. And I help with a little bit of everything. You know how it is, especially at not a real big high school, 550 kids. But we're kind of a load. You know, I mean, we got beat in the second round of playoffs last year, but, you know, we're a load. We got a lot of good kids. We don't make many mistakes. We play really good defense. We got some offensive threats. We can hurt you through the air. We run the ball pretty well. You know, we're a solid team, man. Really solid. Coach Allball in the house out of Georgia. That's my dad. Steve Walsh from Westchester in Ruston, Pennsylvania. Welcome, Coach Walsh. I feel like Steve Walsh, I've seen your name around the Chief Pigskin stuff. Maybe a Chief Pigskin member. And I don't know that you've been here with us on YouTube very often, so super glad to have you. Linebackers, DC, and special teams. Great to have you, Steve Walsh. Thanks for checking in. Again, Nate Allball coaching here in Illinois for about 20 years. And we got the La Cueva High School defensive staff in the house tonight. Wes Hurley, defensive coordinator. And he had done a clinic on our online clinic, which will play directly after this. And that clinic will play. It'll stay up here for about 24 hours. And then it moves over to live permanently on the online clinic. That's clinic.chiefpigskin.com. A lot of our guys that hang out with us are already members. You can check it out 1 month for $29.95 or get your year-long pass for $99. And that's only available now till Christmas. So it might be worth checking out. Might be worth it. I mean, I already know it's worth checking out because I've made it with the help of a handful of guys, and it's awesome. Ron Jankovic in the house out of Georgia, strength coach out of Georgia. And Ron, you're coaching football too. I can't remember what position. Let us know. Coach Steve in the house out of Addison Trail. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We got a great group of guys here to join us to talk some football tonight. Let me shout out my sponsor, and then we're going to get right into bringing our guests in, talk a little defending, and especially talking aggressive defending, which I have not been aggressive. I'm anxious to really pick these guys' brain. Our sponsor is Guardian Caps. Dabo, Jimbo, Franklin, Riley, Herman. What do these coaches have in common? They all use Guardian Caps during practice. These caps reduce up to 33% of the impact to address the repetitive, subconcussive blows that add up during the week while keeping your helmets looking like new. Check them out at guardiansports.com or on Twitter at guardian_caps. Guys, give them a follow. It helps us out a ton to show them that you're listening. Let's get some of these defensive guys in the house. This is the staff. I named myself Skipper tonight. That's because I was going to wear this goofy hat. I'm known sometimes for wearing a lot of hats. I grabbed the goofiest hat out of my hat box tonight, and I just couldn't get myself to wear it. It's a sailor's cap, a true sailor's cap. What's up, Coach Back? Do we got you?
Yes, sir. You got me?
All right, I got you. What about Coach Hurley? We got you? I see the picture.
Yes, sir.
There he is. Welcome, Coach Hurley. How are you?
Good, man. Thanks for having us.
Oh, man. So excited to have you. You guys, I met Coach Hurley down in Albuquerque, and he was the one that told me about the effect that altitude has on you. I had no clue. He said, well, what's the elevation of Champaign? And I said, well, low enough that we never talk about elevation. Yeah. I'll tell you that. And he looked it up on his phone, or somebody that might have been you, Coach Back, and everybody kind of laughed at me.
Yeah.
Elevation.
You were 327 feet, I believe. 5,000. So
yeah,
a little different.
Low enough. I've never thought about it. I've never thought about that at all. So it was the furthest thing from my mind. Yeah, Coach Gardner in the house, out of Utah. Great to have you. Now, we got one more guy coming in. He just looks like he just got here. Kevin Perea.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll get Perea in here. We're talking aggressive defense tonight. That's the goal. I want to talk to more and more guys that like to defend aggressively, because I have a serious problem, and that's that I'm way too scared to do it. And I don't know. People tell me it's because I'm getting old, but I think it's just because something in me is too chicken to do it. What's up, Coach Perea? How are you?
How's it going? Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Hey, nice to meet you. My name is Nate. I know my name under there says Skipper, but my name is Nate. I coach high school football here in Illinois, and I visited La Cueva. What? Kind of. I got to visit you guys' staff. Coach Perea, what do you coach there?
I coach strong safeties there. I used to be the DB coach a couple years back, but I switched to that.
Now it's strong safeties. Now, are you the guy that they say has all the stories?
Supposedly so, man. Supposedly so.
You're the guy.
If you want to find a hot dog in Vegas, there's nobody better than Coach Kevin Perea. I'm telling you.
That's a fact.
Okay.
Good hot dog. Good
We're going to
connoisseur.
get to know you a little bit tonight, Coach Perea. Guys in the chat, don't be afraid to shout out questions. Don't be afraid to answer the questions we ask these guys. Don't be afraid to answer those yourselves. Listen, we're at like 1,996 subscribers. Can I ask you guys to help us get to 2K? Let's just get to 2K tonight. Coach Herman Young in the house. He says, go Storm. Looks like is he a coach over at Cleveland, or a Cleveland fan?
He's a Cleveland coach.
One of the Cleveland coaches. Hey, you know how it is, man. We got a little rivalry between Cleveland and La Cueva. You guys have had some wars. Did you guys play each other this year?
We didn't get to play this year, so no.
So the last time you played was for the state title. So you guys currently hold the belt.
Between us and them, yeah, they were the state champions last year, though. They had a great team stacked. You know, they got a great team coming back, so they're going to be fighting for it again if we ever get the chance to play. So.
But the last you played, you guys won.
That is true, but nobody remembers that. So it's only about tomorrow, and so if we get a chance, it's going to take everything we got.
Well, both staffs were extremely respectful of each other. I got to talk with both, and both spoke highly of the other staff, but there's no doubt these two are two of the tops. Well, excited to get to know more and more staffs out in New Mexico, but welcome, Coach Herman Young. Great to have you. Bummer I didn't get to meet you when we were talking to Cleveland guys, but maybe you're on tomorrow night. We're talking to Cleveland offensive coaches tomorrow night. Let's get down to it and get into some of these questions, coaches, without further delay. First question, what is the furthest north you have resided, the furthest north you have resided, Coach Perea?
Born and raised in Albuquerque, New Mexico, never left home.
So we're talking north side of Albuquerque. That's the furthest north you've lived.
Correct. I'm almost to Rio Rancho, but I'm still in Albuquerque.
So you're a lifelong Albuquerque man. How about you, Coach Hurley?
I was actually raised and went to school 4 hours south of here, so this is as far north as I've been as well, as far as living. Yeah.
Isn't that great? I love that, so much, and it's changing. The world's becoming smaller and smaller with technology, but it's amazing how many of us, I'm the same way, like you live your whole life in just one little pocket of our country. Coach Back, how about you?
Yeah, I lived in Phoenix for a year, but other than that, it's Albuquerque, and I live probably half mile away from where I grew up right now, if that.
Man, so now up in the mountains though, you guys get some snow up in the mountains, right?
Yeah, further north we do. We don't get very much snow in Albuquerque, but further north gets pounded pretty good. We got some good skiing out here.
Man, you live your whole life out in Albuquerque. You can get spoiled by some non-miserable weather in a hurry. I always tell people the only good thing about miserable winters is that when it gets nice for the first time, you're talking 3 months of misery. When it gets nice for the first time, it is the most incredible, exhilarating feeling. Like we had to earn that. We earned that feeling of misery. Let's go to our question number 2. Coach Hurley, I asked this to Rico last night. I said, how much control do you feel like you have over the offense? How much control do you feel like you've been given over this defense? Because I know Coach Back says he's more of a defensive guy. How much do you feel like you have control-wise?
Working for Coach Back is phenomenal. He lets me run the show. I have pretty much total control. He has opinions, and we have discussions and debates, and but very, very rarely is Coach Back like a guy where I'm the head guy. We're gonna do this. That almost never happens. So yeah, it's a pleasure. It's fun. We've put together some good stuff, and Coach Back's been phenomenal, and especially with not having as much experience as Rico, kind of having that trust in me to run with our kids and put them in good positions.
Coach Perea, what is something that Hurley does that you think Coach Back is least comfortable with, or like Coach Back gets antsy when?
When we blitz 100% of the time.
Tell me more.
We blitz as much as we run slants. That should tell you something.
Correct. Well, oftentimes during the game, we'll be in the middle of the game, and Hurley's as you guys talked about during his lecture, lots of 5-man pressures. Never a lot of 6 and 7, but a lot of 5 and 6. And if somebody squirts out into the flats or they get a 3-yard gain, Coach Beck can be heard. Where's the linebacker at?
I don't like giving up hitches. I don't like giving up hitches. That's probably my number one thing that drives the wall. Don't give up the hitch.
True, but that's not what Coach Hurley calls though. Like, he doesn't want to give up the hitch. He does call blitz.
Coach Back, you already know how impressed I am with how much control you've handed over. That's been a weakness of mine, without a doubt. It's hard, right? Like because ultimately the microphone goes in front of your face at the end of the game, right? And so that is hard to give those things up. Give us something like, is there a piece of it that's been harder to give up? Or has there been a piece of the defense, maybe, you could take this any direction, that Hurley has helped take the defense that you maybe wouldn't have gone on your own, but it's been great?
Probably some of the coverages. I like running a little bit more cover 2. It's just kind of the way I grew up. And I like a lot of that scheme and system. But Coach Hurley and Coach Perea and our other defensive staff, those are the guys that come up with the plan for our pressures and the coverages that we associate with it. So, I would say that's hard for me to give up, but I think the hardest lesson in leadership I ever learned is just to get out of the way. And it's a little harder for me on defense because I love defense so much, and I have some of my own strong ideas on what we should be doing. But again, I think the best leaders get out of the way, and I've tried to do that as much as I can in certain situations. And so I get to take the reins a little bit for special teams, which gives me a little bit of leeway of making some of those calls and whatnot. But it's, we got great coaches, and if you got great coaches, you let them run.
Now, you guys in the chat, first of all, everybody, thank you for joining us. If you're just getting here, check in. Let us know where you're watching from. We love to hear from you guys. We got guys from all over the nation, man. Once in a while, we even get somebody from out of the country. But we'd love to hear from you guys. We'd love to know in the chat, you guys, how long does it take for your head coach to come in over the headsets hot and angry? Like, let's say you're starting to give things up, like, is it one drive or is it like half a drive? Is it like when they cross the 50 for the first time, here it comes, click, click? Like, I would love to know, you guys in the chat, how long before here he comes? Or, how many hitches is your head coach willing to give up before he says something? That, how many is it? Like, what's the over under on? Is it 3? It's one for Coach Back. Ben Johnson checking in from Evansville, Indiana. Ben Johnson, welcome. Glad to have you. Hey, I was thinking about taking a visit to Evansville, Coach Johnson. Let me know. Hit me up on Twitter if you'd be willing to have us. Guys, let's keep going. I want to talk about your weekend meeting. I'm a big fan. Now, it's just balance, right? I don't want to overwork guys, but there's also, for us, at least the way we've been, there's something cool about the weekend meeting. It's kind of, sometimes there's something very camaraderie-ish about it for us. Curious to how you guys do your weekend meeting. I got a handful of questions. Where do you do the weekend meeting, Coach Hurley? Or is there one? Are you guys all online with your weekend meetings, game plan meetings?
We meet Sunday nights. Coach Back is really good about giving us time with our family and letting us recharge. So we don't do a lot on Saturday as a group. Individually, a lot of us watch film, and for me, I love it because I get to watch film Saturday and Sunday and kind of digest what I'm looking at, what I want to attack, what I want to take away, things like that. So by the time we meet Sunday night, I already have a rough draft of our game plan and things I think will work, and things we can take advantage of. So yeah, and we meet and we talk, and usually, like I said, Coach Back is great because we can have discussions, even if they get heated sometimes and we're going back and forth, because that usually ends in us coming up with some really good ideas of, okay, I didn't see that before, I see it now, let's go that direction, so.
Coach Perea, how do you feel like, listen, you're like, you might be 35, I don't know, but you are the baby face around here. That's what I'm seeing. You're the baby face. How much do you get, how do you feel heard at those weekend meetings?
In a roundabout way, yes. It kind of started off as reality, but it's become like one of the biggest inside jokes that we have on the defensive side. So I'll say something and Coach Hurley will be like, "That's stupid." And then, why would you do that? And then the next week or the next day he goes, "Hey, you know what? I was thinking the other day and we should do this." And it kind of was like reality at the beginning it's happened, and now it's just kind of the inside joke. But I get heard a lot. Coach Hurley and Coach Back, they put a lot of trust in me, and I'm very thankful for that. And I am the young buck of the staff defensively for sure. And I'm just grateful that I've had, some input when I have good input, but, I try to listen and learn from these guys still. And, I try to pick and choose my times when I think I should, have my input in, and when I should, let the veterans take charge and run with it.
It takes time. Very well said, Coach Perea. I listened to our Illinois High School Coaches Association is having their clinic this week, all virtual. Heard one of the coaches speak tonight, and he just killed it. But he was all over assistants, right? The whole thing was like how to be a good one. And he was just straight honest because he's an out-of-state coach. He knew nobody in Illinois that was going to work for him. And he just straight up with guys, like, listen, if you want to be heard, here's all the list of things you have to do, and then people start asking your opinion, right? Like, it was so cool to hear, and I needed to hear it, man. I'm an assistant right now as a head coach for many years, but I'm an assistant right now, and I feel it. Like, sometimes I want to be heard, and I'm like, hey, there's like a list of things you can do to be heard, right? And really, they all involve like sweat and effort. Like you earn your right to be heard, like out on the field and in the weight room and supervision and all that stuff, right? So it's really cool. Absolutely. It's cool for you to hear that, to say all that. Coach Perea. You know, and one thing I did want to add as well, just to my guys in the chat, one thing that I've always liked a weekend meeting, because I do get it. I want to give guys time with their family, but it's almost like these guys, it's such a cool bond to be coaching with everybody. Like that Sunday night, we would grill out. It was always around a grill, and that was like our only time we were together where we weren't working, you know? It was like there was something really fun about it. We did have some good arguments, which I love those arguments. But something we were famous for, Coach Back, I wonder if you guys ever do this. We'd start here with our plan, and we'd do this full circle of ideas, and we'd come back and we go, why don't we just do what we do? Right? So that's about 2 hours. Tell me about that process for you guys.
That's about verbatim. Is actually how it goes. You know, you got to get all that's what everybody says. That's a good job. Get all those bad ideas out of the way. And then what are you going to do? We're going to be aggressive. Okay. Meeting over.
But it took you 2 hours to get to that, right?
Yeah. It took a lot of pain to get to there, but you know, that's how you get better, is you got to see all angles and you got to see all the things. And we've got some really good, strong coaches who've done this job really well. And it's fun to hear the ideas and whatnot. But at the end of the day, we try to do what we do, and we're pretty good at it so far.
Guys in the chat, would love to hear from you guys. Please let us know. Weekend meeting, when and where? How long? Very curious to know that. Weekend meeting, when and where? How long does it take? Coach Freeman said his is all virtual. Man, we're already inside 10 minutes. We're going to go over 2 or 3, and maybe it's 4 or 5. I don't know. So let's start talking some real coverage. Zero coverage. Are you playing 0 or 1, Coach Hurley, most of the time when you're bringing heat?
1 most of the time, but we will play 0 with the 6-man pressures.
Here's the thing. What is the difference between playing 0 coverage and just straight gambling? Like, how do you avoid this feeling of I'm just gambling?
Oh, it's definitely a gamble. You know, we roll the dice and sometimes we get burned, and it's one of those things. Offenses, and you've talked to Marcelo, you've seen his presentation. Offenses have become so varied and so good at putting your players in conflict, to where you're always stepping the wrong way or doing the wrong thing, and they're, you know, taking advantage of those things, to where we kind of choose to be the dictators a little bit of, you know, fine, you can do that, but there's going to be someone in your face. There's going to be a guy hanging over you. You know, you're going to have to put that ball in a small window with someone in your face to be able to. And if you can do it, great. Let's see you do it again. Right? Like, so, I mean, that's really our mentality. And you know, if we play a really good quarterback that can do that, then we usually have to soften up our coverage a little bit and, you know, try to confuse them and play games with them a little bit. But as an overall defensive philosophy, we are gamblers, and it's kind of a gut feeling play call that we go by.
So how do you know the difference between, or how do you know in a certain game where you're like, okay, the gambling's not paying off? Do you ever know that, or is it just say, this is who we are, we just keep rolling? You know what I mean? It's like if I'm at the craps table, eventually I'm like, if I'm losing big, I'm gonna have to stop. Like, what is it for you guys?
Coach Perea and Coach Back will let me know when the gambling's not paying off. It doesn't. Wes, you have to stop blitzing. Our backers have to read something occasionally, like. So, you know, those are those moments where they kind of reel me in, especially, you know, Coach Back will be like, hey, these blitzes are really working, you know, let's work more internally than externally, you know, off the edge is looking good. Let's keep doing, you know, instead of 0 behind it or 1, let's just drop into some cover 3 and bring some pressure, you know, different variations like that.
So tell me this, we'll go to you for this, Coach Perea. If my guess is, knowing that you guys play man coverage a lot, that you practice it a lot. Is that you practice it a lot? Are there any specifics
Absolutely.
you can share with how you guys practice? Do you like have a certain progression you go through practicing man? Is it just a lot of one-on-ones? Like, how do you get good at it? Because that's all I can think of is that, like, we've been burned in it. So clearly I'm not spending enough time in it. Like, give me some tips. Like, how are you guys getting good at man?
Well, to kind of piggy off of Coach Back from his comments yesterday with the slants, like how to get good at slants, with man, we practice and practice and rep and rep and rep. And now at the beginning of the season, we do explain our coverage in detail. We explain to the kids why we're doing this. Man coverage, you're beat over the top. You just are. We play trail technique, and we tell our kids that, and it's hard for them to understand, for some of them at the beginning, to understand that. And we want to ensure that they're confident in being in that position. So in the off season, we talk about it. We try to be very, educational with it, get them, used to that type of coverage and that type of language. We do a lot of drills with me personally. When I was DB coach and when I'm the strong safety coach, strong safeties are playing pretty much the same coverage as the corners are. So we do a lot of the same techniques. We start with the progression. You need to start here with your steps. You need to start here with, man technique, whether it's on or off or collisioning and so on and so forth, and running to it. So I really try to progress it and scaffold it. So that way, when we do get to one-on-one, we have a little confidence. But our receivers are some of the best receivers in the state. Coach Marcelli does a heck of a job coaching those guys, and they're aggressive and they are not afraid of contact. And so it's a fight. It's a dog fight all day in practice.
Are one-on-ones a daily thing?
Almost, yes. Almost every day. If it's not, it's a pregame day. But we're fighting in one-on-ones, and it's a dog fight. When I was a DB coach, we used to call our group ATC, Air Traffic Control. And that was kind of like our little name together. And the receivers started hearing about it, and during one-on-ones, if they'd make a catch or they score a touchdown or something like that, they're like, the runway's open, guys. The runway's open. And our DBs did not like that, and our strong safeties don't like that either. So it's an absolute dogfight, and our receivers make it so much better. Coach Marcelli does a great job of teaching them releases and how to avoid contact and how to get separation, and it just makes us better every day. And those are valuable reps on a daily basis. And the kids, you see the progression that, we might be getting our tails whooped in the beginning in 7-on-7, but the more we rep it and the better they get at it, and you emphasize it, and those kids that we have are capable of playing this type of coverage.
Some of the guys in our chat over here, Ben Johnson out of Indiana says, I feel like all our zero blitzes start with screw it, as in screw it, fire zero, gets called on the headset. Ben Campos says our zero blitzes start with whose turn is it? A couple of guys in chat really like to play aggressive defense. I haven't seen Johnson's team defend. I have seen Campos's team defend. I can verify, very aggressive. Coach Hurley, help me understand, if I'm playing, when you start teaching man-to-man technique, let's say it's summertime, where's the start? What's the depth? What's the leverage? Give me some coaching points. When I start to teach man, here's kind of our basics. Here's our foundation of our man coverage.
We're usually lined up at 5 yards. So we start there just to get a good read and be able to see where the receiver's going without giving them too much room. And then our man coverage starts a lot with collision. We are rerouting at that 5 yard mark as much and as violently as we possibly can. After that, it's pretty much turn and run and trail technique. And so we spend a lot of time on, leverage depending on spacing and things like that. We'll switch it from inside to outside. If teams like to throw the slant, right, in practice, we spend a lot of time inside leverage trying to take Marcelli's stuff away. But, so we can switch that. But it really does come down to rewriting, trying to throw off the timing of that quarterback. So if the pressure does get there and he throws to a spot, the receiver has been knocked off and the timing is done. So we don't get a lot of picks playing that way, but we don't give up a lot of pass yards typically either. So that's kind of the trade-off, right? You don't get the zone turnovers where guys can read the quarterback and break on the ball and stuff like that. Our guys, we tell them, look, you have to be hip to hip before you can turn and look for that ball. If you're not hip to hip, then you're playing through his hands. Where his hands go, your hands go. And like I talked about in the presentation, the when we arrive violently. Our DBs take that, it's not a catch until the whistle is blown. So, we have little DBs, but they are scrappy and mean, and they will rake at a ball till it's over. So that helps a lot.
You're only going to get yelled at as a DB if you don't hit a receiver. If you get burned, that happens. But you don't put your hands on a receiver, you're going to get your ass moved out of there. You ain't going to be there any longer. So I think our number one thing is aggression. So you better be hitting somebody. You know how hard it is to catch a ball when somebody's punching you in the kidney? That's kind of the mentality we bring to the table here. So that's what you got to get. That's what we do on defense. It's just a mentality thing more than a scheme thing.
See, that's so... No way have I ever thought of it like this. So, because here's the thing. So one thing in our defense, we're a big cover 3 team. We wanted to make a higher priority to collisioning that number 2 receiver, right? Try to help collision on that seam, help our safety out. But one thing we knew, we said, hey, if we want a collision, we're going to miss sometimes. We might be out of position. So now for you to say play man and be physical, how do you keep from missing them, Coach Back?
Well, that's what we do, and there's no deviation from it. This is what we do, and I'm not kidding when I say that you're going to get yelled at if you don't put your hands on somebody. If you get burned, that's okay, but you better put your hands on somebody if you're going to get burned, because you're going to face a guy who's bigger than you, better than you, faster than you. But this is high school football. We can pound on you from the line of scrimmage to the goal line until the ball's in the air, and we're going to take advantage of that. So again, it's a mentality thing. It's not a scheme thing as much as it is a mentality thing. And yeah, we might get burned, and we have been burned, and we play receivers with, I think that's why the hitch makes me so angry, because the hitch is just giving, it's just like, here you go. There's 5 free yards for you. And so that's why that it sits totally different against what we teach. Like we're trying to punch you in the face.
Yeah.
Literally punch you in the face. That's our goal.
This is blowing my mind right now. I didn't think about it like this at all right now. Then Coach Pereira, give me a detail. Like if I'm lining up starting at 5, what are my first steps if I'm in man coverage?
Man coverage, our first steps are going to be to do 2 scooch steps. So that way we get a little bit of rebound net. We don't want to bail out of there because that takes away our aggression. Okay? And
so am I like angled in towards the quarterback? Am I angled out towards you? Never
angled. So we are straight. We are parallel from the receiver. We're squared up, and we're either inside leverage or outside leverage. We are never head up. We are never zero technique on that guy.
Okay.
Ever. You will get yelled at if you are zero technique because you're giving him a 2-way go. But we are either outside leverage or inside leverage by a half a step, 2 scooch steps to just give a little bit of space to read and whatnot. But we want to be in there and in their face, like Coach Back said, to make that collision happen and to be aggressive.
Man, okay, so never head up. I love that. Yeah, you can't give him a 2-way go because that. Okay, this is awesome. I'm really excited about this right now. So that's the thing. If you're willing to play man, the freedom you get in the interior is unbelievable. Like that freedom, even if a kid's not blitzing, the freedom that he has, right? If I'm truly reading and I know that anything I do behind me is a true bonus to our team, I'm just free to play downhill way more aggressively. Coach Hurley, if you're in cover 1, and he's not blitzing a backer, inside backer, outside backer, whoever he is he expected at all to help pass game? Is he expected to drop at all?
It depends game plan to game plan. Typically, if the quarterback's not very mobile, he'll help out. He'll drop and any crossers or anything like that, he'll try to get some contact on or help drop underneath something or something like that. A lot of times, because it seems like almost every team we play has a kid that can run back there, we end up just almost spying.
Yeah.
With our back, one of our backers will help with the back, and then the other one ends up pretty much kind of spying the quarterback for when he takes off, making sure because in man coverage, all those backs are turned. Right, you got guys running down the field, so if that quarterback breaks contain or gets to that first level, you got to have someone there to account for that.
Yes, man, fellas, we're practically 5 minutes over already, and I feel like I've just gotten started. Hey, right after this video, we're going to be showing Coach Hurley's clinic presentation that's on the online clinic. It'll stay here for 24 hours. If you see this after 24 hours, it's over at clinic.chiefpigskin.com, a site we've worked really hard on and we're really proud of. His video is on a simple tagging system to bring 5- and 6-man pressures. Really good, some great film in there, some great examples of what they're doing, and I love the simplicity of this system. Hey, a group of great guys here. Reach out to these guys, find them on Twitter, man. I'm super intrigued by this man-to-man stuff. If you are too, Coach Campos, you being an aggressive guy, man, I don't know if we'll ever play man, but when we start playing man, I am looking you guys up. I want to know more about this. Where can people find you guys on Twitter? Let them know your handles.
I'm at Football Coach Hurley.
The whole word, football or FB?
No, FB. FB Coach Hurley.
At FB Coach Hurley. Coach Back, are you on Twitter?
I am not. That's how you get fired.
Coach Perea, you on Twitter?
I am. I'm just double checking to make sure it's right. It's K Perea 54. So K and then my last name Perea 54.
At K Perea 54. And Coach Back, you're gonna have to email him, boys. Find a way. Email. He's keeping his slate clean. That is smart. That's what I'm gonna have to do. If I ever go back to being a head coach one day, I'm gonna have to shut all this down because certainly I'd get myself into trouble somehow. Man, so grateful for your time. There's gonna be about 60 seconds of quiet as we switch over to our clinic video. I'm gonna read my sponsor, I'm going to shout out my sponsor one more time, and after I do, want to come back to you guys for closing thoughts and say goodbyes. Our sponsor is Guardian Caps, and we're super thankful to have them. Dabo, Jimbo, Franklin, Riley, and Herman. What do all these coaches have in common? They all use Guardian Caps during practice. These caps reduce up to 33% of the impact to address the repetitive, subconcussive blows that add up during the week, while keeping your helmets looking like new. Check them out at guardiansports.com. or on Twitter at Guardian_Caps. Guys, look them up, give them a follow. Helps us out for them to know that you guys appreciate them supporting us. Coach Anso Teague says, nice work, fellas. All of our guys, we've loved getting to know you, New Mexico guys. Again, it's like a whole world of football that I never had really, we all get wrapped up in our own little world. So it's so cool to get to know you guys. Reach out at any time. Any closing thoughts, man? We'll go around the horn. We'll go Back, then Hurley, then Perea. Closing thoughts.
Just thanks for having us, and this is a great time. I've been watching all your videos on Chief Pigskin, and there's some fantastic stuff from drills to philosophy. It's awesome to have that resource available.
Appreciate that, Coach. Coach Hurley.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It was a pleasure, and it's a great coaching is just a great thing to do and be a part of, and building a community like this. You're doing a great job, Nate. Like, this is good stuff, man. I appreciate it.
Oh man, really grateful for that, Coach Hurley. Thank you, Coach Perea. You get the last word.
Just thanks for having us. Like they all said, the Chief Pigskin Library is fantastic. It's a phenomenal resource. Pick and choose and steal whatever you want from there. You have it all up there. And so we appreciate you, what you're doing. And I appreciate you for having me on and all these guys. So I had a wonderful time. I was excited and great time.
Oh, man. Great getting to know La Cueva, guys. You guys in the chat, thank you. If you could give us a thumbs up. And, hey, subscribe. We're literally like 2 away from 2,000. Give us a subscribe. It don't cost a thing. So grateful for all you guys' support. We're going to switch over. Men, you guys have a great Christmas season, and hopefully you're back in school eventually.
Yeah, maybe. And hopefully.
We'll see. At least by next fall for sure. All right, we're signing off. Good night, men.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.